New York City, just after World War II. The skyscrapers are already climbing higher into the clouds, the streets are buzzing with energy, and the American dream feels alive and reachable for anyone bold enough to grab it. In Queens, a baby is born in 1946, a baby who would one day become one of the most polarizing figures in modern history. His name? Donald John Trump. Donald grew up not in the Manhattan spotlight, but in the more suburban world of Queens. His father, Fred Trump, wasn't just any businessman. He was already a powerhouse in real estate, building affordable housing for working-class families. Fred was strict, disciplined, and driven. He expected his children to work hard, to compete, to win. And Donald, from the very beginning, showed that he wasn't just another kid in the family, he wanted to stand out. But here's the twist. Young Donald wasn't exactly the calm, disciplined son his father wanted. At school, he was restless. Teachers described him as energetic, sometimes disruptive, always hungry for attention. By the age of 13, his parents had enough. They sent him away to the New York Military Academy, hoping the strict routines, the uniforms, the discipline of military life would straighten him out. And guess what? It did. And it didn't. Donald thrived in the academy in one way. He became competitive. He wanted to lead. He wanted to shine. He rose in ranks, played sports, and loved the recognition. But the same fire inside him, the ambition, the hunger for attention, never calmed down. It just became sharper, more focused. Fast forward to college. Trump first attended Fordham University in the Bronx, but after 2 years he transferred to the prestigious Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. This wasn't just any move, it was strategic. Wharton was known for producing the next generation of business leaders, and Donald wanted to be among them. At Wharton, he studied economics, sharpened his business skills, and graduated in 1968. But let's pause here. Most kids fresh out of college start small. They get jobs, learn the ropes, build their resumes. Donald? Not exactly. He had a safety net, a father who was already worth millions, with properties spread across New York. But Donald wasn't content with just managing his dad's empire in Queens and Brooklyn. No, he had bigger dreams. He wanted Manhattan. He wanted the skyline. He wanted his name lit up in gold across the city. This is where the real Trump story begins, the shift from being Fred's son to carving out his own empire. Picture this. It's the early 1970s. Manhattan is gritty, dangerous, a city struggling with crime and near bankruptcy. Many developers avoided it. But Donald? He saw opportunity where others saw ruin. He started small, working alongside his father, but soon he began pitching bold deals. In 1974, he took control of the family business and renamed it the Trump Organization. The rebranding was symbolic. This wasn't just about managing buildings. This was about power, influence, image. Donald wasn't just in real estate. He was in the business of selling Trump as a brand. At this point, Donald wasn't yet the billionaire celebrity or the president we know today, but the pieces were being laid. The military discipline, the Wharton education, the family fortune, and most importantly, his obsession with the Trump name becoming bigger than life itself. And soon, he'd make his first big move into Manhattan, a gamble that would set the stage for everything that followed. So, it's the mid-1970s. New York City is in crisis. Rising crime, empty buildings, the government practically broke. For most developers, Manhattan looked like a graveyard of failed dreams. But Donald? He saw a playground. He saw a stage big enough to match his ego. In 1976, Donald made one of his first bold moves, renovating the Commodore Hotel near Grand Central Station. At the time, the hotel was falling apart, losing money, and dragging the area down. But Trump saw potential. He struck a deal with the city, convincing them to give him a 40-year tax abatement. Then he partnered with Hyatt Hotels. The gamble worked. The Commodore was reborn as the Grand Hyatt in 1980. Suddenly, Trump wasn't just Fred's son playing in Queens. He was a Manhattan player. And here's where his genius showed. Trump didn't just build real estate, he built spectacle. Every project was a headline, every move carefully staged for the cameras. He understood something other developers didn't. In New York, perception was power. If people believed you were a winner, then you were a winner. Then came the project that would define him, Trump Tower. Imagine Fifth Avenue in the early 1980s, already home to luxury brands like Gucci and Tiffany & Co. Trump wanted in. He wanted to build not just another high-rise, but a symbol. A skyscraper made of reflective glass soaring 58 stories high with a 6-story atrium of pink marble and waterfalls. When Trump Tower opened in 1983, it wasn't just a building, it was a statement. Trump had arrived and he wasn't going anywhere. Celebrities moved in, luxury stores lined the bottom floors, and the media couldn't get enough. Trump had officially transformed himself into a brand. The gold letters Trump became a symbol of wealth, success, and ambition. But Trump's appetite didn't stop at real estate. He dove into casinos in Atlantic City, yachts, airlines, even sports teams. He wanted his name everywhere: Trump Plaza, Trump Castle, Trump Shuttle. And for a while it seemed like everything he touched turned to gold. But here's the twist. The 1980s were a decade of greed, of risky borrowing, of bigger and bolder bets. And Trump was right in the middle of it. He borrowed heavily to fund his empire. Banks loved him, investors lined up, and Donald basked in the spotlight. He became a fixture on magazine covers, in gossip columns, even in cameos on TV shows. By the late 1980s, Donald Trump wasn't just a businessman, he was a celebrity businessman. The line between the two blurred, and he loved it, he craved it. But then, reality hit. The 1990s came crashing down on Trump like a storm. The U.S. economy went into recession. Atlantic City's casino market collapsed. Trump had over-leveraged. He owed billions. His empire, built on borrowed money and media hype, was crumbling. By 1991, his companies were drowning in debt. His casinos filed for bankruptcy. His airline folded. His yacht was sold. For the first time, the golden name Trump was being mocked in the press. Headlines called him a fraud, a has-been, a man who had flown too close to the sun. But here's what makes Trump different. Most businessmen would have disappeared. They would have quietly licked their wounds and faded into obscurity. Not Donald. He fought back. He renegotiated loans with banks. He sold off properties, cut deals, and clawed his way out of bankruptcy. And through it all, he kept one thing intact: his brand. Even when the numbers didn't add up, the name Trump still screamed luxury, ambition, success. And he made sure the cameras kept rolling. By the early 2000s, Donald had rebuilt his image. He was back in the spotlight, not as the failed tycoon, but as the comeback king. And then came the opportunity that would redefine him for a new generation: television. In 2004, NBC launched The Apprentice. It was reality TV at its finest, ambitious young professionals competing for a job with Trump. Each week, contestants faced challenges, boardroom showdowns, and the famous line, "You're fired." The show was a hit. Ratings soared. Suddenly, millions of Americans weren't just reading about Trump in tabloids. They were watching him in their living rooms week after week. To them, Trump wasn't just a businessman. He was the ultimate boss, the billionaire mentor, the man who made or broke dreams with a single phrase. The Apprentice gave Trump something money couldn't buy: credibility with everyday Americans. It made him relatable, even likable. He wasn't just the flashy real estate mogul in Manhattan anymore. He was a household name, a pop culture icon. And here's the kicker: Trump understood television. He knew how to play the role. The boardroom was his stage.
the cameras his spotlight. He leaned into the persona of the tough, no-nonsense leader. And it worked. The show ran for over a decade, and Trump pocketed not just money, but influence. By the time the 2010s rolled around, Donald Trump had gone from a real estate developer in Queens to a brand that stretched across buildings, casinos, hotels, golf courses, and now television. He had survived failure, bankruptcy, and scandal. He had rebranded himself again and again. But deep down, Trump wanted something more. Fame wasn't enough. Wealth wasn't enough. He wanted power, real power, the kind of power that no bankruptcy could erase, no TV ratings could cancel. And in 2015, he shocked the world by stepping onto a new stage, the biggest stage of all, politics. When Trump rode down the golden escalator in Trump Tower to announce his candidacy for president, many laughed. The media called it a stunt, a joke, a PR move. But they were wrong. Because just like in real estate, just like in television, Trump was about to turn politics upside down. It's June 16th, 2015, Trump Tower, Fifth Avenue. The golden escalator descends slowly, and there he is, Donald J. Trump, with Melania by his side, waving to a sea of cameras and reporters. The music is loud, the room is buzzing. When he reaches the bottom, he steps up to the podium and announces the words that would shake American politics. I am officially running for President of the United States. Most people laughed. Late-night comedians joked about it. Political experts dismissed him. He had flirted with politics before, but never seriously. This time, they thought, was just another publicity stunt. But Trump wasn't joking. He tapped into something raw, something boiling beneath the surface of American society. His campaign was blunt, unapologetic, even shocking. He talked about immigration, trade deals, and draining the swamp. He insulted rivals, attacked the media, and used Twitter like a weapon. For many voters, especially those who felt ignored by Washington elites, Trump was a voice they hadn't heard before. He wasn't polished, he wasn't scripted, he was real, unfiltered, and loud. By 2016, the impossible happened. Trump bulldozed through the Republican primaries, defeating seasoned politicians one by one. And then came the general election. Hillary Clinton, former First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State, backed by the Democratic establishment and most of the media. The odds? Slim to none for Trump. But on November 8th, 2016, history was made. Against all predictions, Donald J. Trump was elected the 45th President of the United States. The Trump years were unlike anything America had seen. From day one, he declared war on the fake news media. He governed by tweet, speaking directly to millions of followers at all hours. His supporters loved it. They felt connected, empowered. His critics, outraged. Trump pushed for tax cuts, deregulation, and reshaping the Supreme Court. He promised to build the wall at the southern border. He pulled out of international agreements, clashed with allies, and cozied up to rivals. For 4 years, the world was glued to his every move. But his presidency was also marked by chaos. Staff turnover in the White House was constant. Scandals, investigations, and controversies followed him everywhere. The Mueller investigation into Russian election interference dominated headlines. Impeachment hearings shook Washington, not once, but twice. And then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic hit America hard. Trump's handling of the crisis became one of the most divisive issues of his presidency. Supporters praised his focus on reopening the economy. Critics accused him of downplaying the virus. The country was split, more polarized than ever. And then in November 2020, Trump faced Joe Biden. The election turnout was historic. After days of counting, Biden was declared the winner. But Trump refused to concede. He claimed the election was stolen, launching lawsuits and rallying his base with cries of fraud. The climax came on January 6th, 2021. A mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, disrupting the certification of the election. The images shocked the world. Trump was impeached for a second time, this time for incitement of insurrection. He became the first president in U.S. history to be impeached twice. Most ex-presidents fade into the background. They write memoirs, build libraries, give speeches. Trump? Not a chance. He turned Mar-a-Lago, his Florida estate, into his new headquarters. He kept rallying, kept speaking, kept attacking the media and the political establishment. And then came the lawsuits, investigations into his businesses, his taxes, his handling of classified documents. Prosecutors lined up case after case. For any other politician, it would have been the end. But Trump is no ordinary politician. Each indictment, each accusation, seemed only to strengthen his grip on his supporters. To them, he wasn't just a politician anymore. He was a fighter, a martyr, a symbol of resistance against the system. By 2023, Trump had announced it. He was running again. The 2024 election wasn't going to be just another political battle. It was shaping up to be a rematch, a fight for the future of America itself.